Hey guys, Brandon Esterly here from the Esterly Fishing Team. It's winter time here in the Northeast. I was fortunate enough to win the Northeast Division BFL Co-Angler AOY this year. I figured I was going through some of my tackle reorganizing for the winter, and I was going to talk about some of the baits that I key for my success this year. So I'm just going to start with the Potomac River. So the Potomac River was actually fishing really well this spring for our tournament. We were able to dial it down to two key techniques. The first would be to go to a shallow grass flat, and we would rip these rattle traps across. This is actually a Strike King red-eye shad, and I would burn that thing as fast as I can. It was creating a really good reaction strike. We caught a lot of fish on this, and we were able to catch a lot of key big fish in the morning on it. The next technique was going to shallow rocks, and I would actually throw this tube on a 1/4 ounce jig head right up on the rocks. And it's just like that saying, if you're not getting snagged, you're not catching fish. I was throwing it in probably 6 inches of water. As soon as you drug it right off those rocks, they had it. I ended up weighing in almost 17 pounds. Daryl almost weighed in 16 pounds, and it was all on these two main techniques. So the next tournament was on the upper Chesapeake Bay at the flats, and pretty much if you wanted to win that tournament, you were out on the flats. So it was approximately 100 boats out there. So the two techniques worked best for me was to throw this Z-Man chatterbait in the green pumpkin color across those flats, and then to follow that up, I would throw this 1/4 ounce Kitech jig with a crazy flapper 2.8 inch in black and blue color into all the pockets of that grass. And you could also fish this thing around the docks. I pretty much throw this thing all day long and get bites. Next two tournaments are at one of my favorite smallmouth lakes, and that's Lake Oneida in New York. In the morning, we would start out going shallow, searching for big smallmouth on topwater baits. I'd switch between this walking bait by Strike King, the Sexy Dog, and also this new bait by River to Sea called the Whopper Plopper in the 90 size. And if you don't have one of these for smallmouth for topwater, you better get one, because they are awesome. They kill this bait, they love it. Hookups are fantastic. It's becoming my new favorite topwater bait, even for largemouth. And then in the afternoon, we'd go out deep to the rocks or deep grass, and we'd throw this drop shot bait called the Strike King Half Shell. And this thing has also become one of my new favorite baits for smallmouth. It has awesome action. I've caught a lot of fish on this year. I throw this on 8-pound fluorocarbon, which I'll get to later, and I usually use between a 1/4 ounce and 3/8 ounce drop shot weight. So the last tournament of the season was at Thousand Islands. It was a 2-day super tournament. I was able to make it the second day and actually get a 5th place finish. During practice, I spent my whole time in the river, but come tournament time, my anglers both went out to Lake Ontario. The same tactics seemed to work for me, all finesse, out deep. I would use a drop shot with this crosstail shad by Jackal. This is the Morning Dawn color. And then I would also switch over to a tube, 1/4 ounce, 3/8 ounce jig head, depending on how deep we were. These are River Rock tubes, 3.5 inch. And I'm starting to really like these tubes. I throw tubes a lot. And they're real soft, so it definitely collapses good for a good hook set. And I've had no issues with them. So as far as the hooks that I used a size 1 drop shot hook, Trocar, for all my drop shots. All my tubes are hand poured jig heads. And line, like I talked about the Seaguar, I use Seaguar and Vizex. It's pretty much the best line that I've ever used. I've used it probably for 5 years now, and I've never switched. All my bait casters have 12-pound tests, spinning rods 8-pound. Sometimes I go to 6-pound if I feel like I need it for super finesse situations. My flipping rod has just 20-pound fluorocarbon. Up here in the Northeast, we don't go to many places that you need much heavier than that. So that's my setups that I use. So everything that I showed you today, it all can be purchased at Underdog Tackle, fishud.com. Go subscribe to this channel. Go like our Instagram at Esterly Fishing, and thanks for watching.